Okay, so welcome back to another Gate Ruler video. This one's not a deck profile, but this is more just covering different promo cards for Gate Ruler that I decided to pick up, especially because some of them, I didn't pick up all of the different promos that are out there, so like the shop participation promos and stuff like that. I picked up a few because like my local game store doesn't have tournaments or pricing support for it, so like I can't get the participation promos through that means. So I have to actually buy them off the secondary market. But one of the things I did want to go over was the different promos. Some of them I want to see what they look like for their promo version, and then compare some of them to some of their original versions, and then go off like the different type of foiling that some of them have been going through. But the first thing like I wanted to mention was I want to one thing that I think the Japanese side of it had done was so like these promos here was actually given when I purchased the first set. I purchased a few boxes of set 1 in Japanese from Japan, and then they had given me a promo pack that came with what was known as like preview cards. So they're promo cards, but then these would eventually be printed later on in future sets. So like for example, this is in the starter deck for the Dragons one, and then these were all like 1-star and 2-star cards that came out in the sets 2 and 3, I believe. Or mostly set 2. So that's why it was like a preview from set 1 going to set 2 to show the different promos. But the one thing with the promos was that the promos always ended up being something that you could get in a normal set, or if not, they had mentioned they would try to like reprint them inside of a future set that was more mass produced rather than getting through promos, which to me is actually a very good thing compared to like some other card games where, you know, they release like a promo card and then it's the only way to get it is through that promo. You know, it is not easily available, you know, to just purchase, you know, without, you know, getting extremely high because of the limited number of quantities that are given out. So some of the promos that I picked up were some of the earlier ones that I had hoped would have been reprinted by now, or if not, would have been given out another way. But without it, I decided to just pick up some of them. And if they reprinted, it's fine. You know, I will always take more copies. But for like the first promo one is Zoltar, Golden Grand Dragon. So this is one of the first promos that came out during set 1's time. So it's just the Dragon 773 vanilla. So for set 1, you know, very powerful because this is the equivalent of Magvarius, but Magvarius was a legendary. So you didn't have, you know, either you had like less strike or you had like less attack or HP. Like you could compare it to like with Vastoris Rex, the one from the starter deck where he had only 2 strike, and then, you know, had like restrictions where he couldn't go into like the defensive zone. But then like with Zoltar was just a generic 3/3, or sorry, a 3-strike 7/7 dragon. So I just picked up this. There's not too many decks that would probably use it because we're in a part of the game where almost every effect is kind of relevant, and there's empty slots that we can just like throw it in. So because of that, he may not see as much play. And a lot of deck profiles that I do, I try to avoid these limited promos just because not everyone will have access to them. The next promo is the Bunbuku. So this is actually a card that I really thought we would have seen in set 2. So it was a participation promo, again, like sometime after Zoltar, because again, most of them are not usually foil. But this is a supernatural with an overdrive that when it comes to play, it gets defender for that turn. And then just being a 3/3. I would have actually liked to seen this in the set 2 when supernatural kind of got like a bigger boost. Because this when building some supernatural decks, especially when it's the overdrive build, I would really have liked to have included this one. But again, I try to avoid deck lists that use, you know, promos that, you know, not everyone may have easy access to. And then one thing to note that all of these were purchased through like TCG Player. And then Bunbuku is actually not as expensive as he used to. I know at one point I think he was like $5, but now he's like down to like $2.50, which to me is not a bad price for a promo that, considering how old it is. And then again, even if it doesn't see much use, I'm hoping that they will eventually reprint it. You may not use it too much, but I think it's just something nice to have like an option for, you know, supernatural build, especially if you're looking at level requirements. So that way, you know, being a free level 0 3/3 defender when it comes into play is, you know, just really good value. The next promo, this one I actually purchased a while ago. So I purchased this at about $35, I want to say. I purchased like 3, and I wish I had actually bought more. But there was only like 3, I think, at the time for $35. But now they're like, they kind of went up again to like 50, and then they're kind of hanging around 45 right now. I might actually pick up a few more at 45, but I would actually wait. So this one is Schrodinger's cat. So again, this is the replacement for Flying Spaghetti Monster from Japan's original set 2. So it's the exact same card, it's just that it's a different name. Probably for licensing rights, because the Flying Spaghetti Monster is from an like a type of religion that's happening in Japan, like an actual where they have all of the stuff written out and things, and they had actually gotten permission to use the artistic use of the artwork for Flying Spaghetti Monster. But for us, for America, I guess they couldn't get the rights for it. So when they printed our set 2, we actually had one legend less than Japan's set. So we actually didn't have a Flying Spaghetti Monster. So eventually they printed a promo of it for Schrodinger. And then you'll notice with the promo, with this one, it's foil, but it's also textured, if you can see it at certain angles. See if I can get it in the light. So again, it has like a slight texture feel, similar to like the backing of the Gate Ruler cards, where it has that slight texture-ish feel to it, where there's some indentation. So the cat has that on it too. Schrodinger's cat has actually seen less play, I think, with set 3, because of the way, again, the move away from drive-based decks. Because holding 3 energy up in energy-based rulers is kind of hard. Like, it's kind of like easy to tell that your opponent has something, and it's probably a Schrodinger's cat. Especially if they have in the set field cards. But like the only other like ruler that will take advantage or could take advantage of this would be like Overlord, where they can set it and play it for 1 because they can play for cheap. And again, it acts like a 17th counter because its ability to like essentially heal itself out is just very good. So I'm hoping that they'll reprint this in a future set, or if not, maybe they'll give it to us in a promo in another way. Just so that, or at least, rerun this promo again later on, just so that way it'll be easier to get for more players. The next promo is the Thunderbolt Quarterback. So this is actually a English exclusive promo. So Japan doesn't have this card. And the card that comes closest to is the Reagan Leaf version that came out with set 3, the Sonic Voltage, that card. So this one, there's slight differences though. Like this one has more HP, but it has less strike. It's still a superhero and an ascendant, but it is not a Reagan Leaf. And then both have the touchdown to draw a card. This one has the ability though that attack and HP of your enemy units are equal to the original value, so it negates like pumping effects or anything like that. And then but they both have the ability that they can't be placed in the defense zone. But then this one is not a counter space, which is fairly good or bad depending, because the counter to special summon Sonic Voltage is actually not a bad effect, because it gives you an extra beater that either your opponent has to choose to get rid of it, or they can choose to just keep attacking you. But the reason I picked up this card is actually, I'm hoping, because again it is an exclusive, that hopefully at some point Japan will print it in the set, and then we'll get another reprinting of it that way, because then we get the same sets pretty much now with Japan. And that will hopefully reprint this. I'm actually thinking this might be in the set 4 that's coming out, because it is a superhero. That's actually the main reason I picked this card up, is because it is a superhero. And I also picked it up because it is in foil, and I'm thinking that maybe if it does come on a set, this might be maybe a 3-star, 2-star or lower. It might be a 3-star just because its abilities are just very good. But this card is actually slightly textured. So again, like the Schrodinger's cat, it has that slight texture feel to it, as well as it has the same textures feel as the background, similar to like the textured box toppers that we got with set 3. So that's the whole reason why I picked up these. They were about $5, but I think you can get them cheaper now on TCG Player. I think some people are selling for like $2.50 or $3. And usually that's how that happens, is that once people buy like certain promos for Gate Ruler, like they see in the stuff that it's been sold for that much, so then people will start listing it for like slightly lower. So but again, you could hold off, because again, I don't see this being played much or is being used as much, because again, its attributes aren't very noteworthy, at least yet. So again, I don't think there's any reason to like pick these up instantly. But like for me personally, I just wanted to pick up a set just to have. The next ones is the two I picked up. The two main promos was the Judgment of Magvarius, which is the set 1 secret reprint, and then the Beastfolk Herbalist reprint. And so we'll go with the first one. So set 1, Blazing Judgment of Magvarius. This is the original version. So the original version, again, is textured. So again, in certain angles, you will see that it has a texture to it. And again, it has the same feel that if you have like the textured foils that they've been using. Whereas when you compare it to the promo version, it's actually more full art. So this one is the original version. So you notice it has the text, or it has the Volnar border, right? So the yellow border, and then on the bottom as well. Whereas the promo version, if you look on the bottom, it kind of got rid of this Volnar bottom and actually like put the swords from the center to the side, as well as again the top. They got rid of the Volnar, so it became a more full art promo card. But you'll notice that the foiling is flat. Okay, so it's not textured like the Schrodinger's cat, as well as the Thunderbolt Quarterback. So it looks like they're going to be using this flat foil version, because again we'll see it on the Beast Herbalist as well. But again, so with set 1, we only had this as our secret rare that has its borders. The second set, we got Beastfolk Herbalist again, as well as Jenny Barbie. So this is the original secret rare for Jenny Barbie. But the one thing to note is that both of them are textured as well. So set 2, the secret rares continue to be textured. So if you look in the light, you'll see that they have that certain texture feel to it that you can see in some of the box toppers. But the one thing to note again is that, like the Judgment of Magvarius, these actually got a more full art treatment than the originals. So I haven't picked up a Jenny Barbie yet, just because I don't I like this artwork, and I do like that it is full art. So I might pick up a playset, but it's a little on the expensive. Like, I don't probably want to spend more than like $10 on it, but I know it can't be super cheap, just because like the only alternative would be to pick up these, which are still going to be a little bit on the higher end. But so like with Beastfolk, again, it's not textured, but again, it is more full art. So like on the bottom, they got rid of the flavor text that's down here, and again, they moved the swords from the center of the Volnar to the corners. And again, the top doesn't have the Volnar border on the top as the original one does. So overall, I think this is a pretty nice promo, and it's actually not too expensive. Again, it got cheaper from when I bought it, and it's only been like a couple days since I purchased it, and then I got it in the mail the other day. So again, as more people start buying it, will probably go down, at least for a little while, until the promo like runs out. Like, they stop giving it out because they change promos. But again, you only need maybe 1-2 copies max. I try not to put this in any deck because it is a once per game ability. That, you know, it's just a heal. And again, it's a 1/1/1 for level 2. It is a beast and a mage, so there were some beast decks that I came up with that ran it, but then at certain points I took it out because it's not very accessible to most people. And again, when it originally came out, you know, it's like it was $100 plus. And you know, most people aren't willing to spend that kind of money, especially for an effect that you may not actually use throughout the whole game, because again, you're only running one copy. And if you run more than one copy, it feels bad when you get like duplicates, and then you just can't use its ability because you've already used it for that game. So that's the only reason why. But I do think, you know, I just like the card itself. I think the artwork is, you know, great. And then I might pick up 2 more just to make like a playset of this, because I do have a playset of this one. Because I purchased like a few when they first came out because I wanted to make the playset, since it's not a legendary card. But then the one thing I wanted to note is that these are the last 2 secrets we got from set 3. And there's one thing I wanted to point out is that there's a key difference where the first 2 sets, the secret rares, the first one we had a secret rare that was unique to secret rare to the secret rare slot. And in set 2, we had one secret rare that was, solely from that slot, and then you had a reprint of an alternate art from that set as a secret rare. But again, they both had regular borders. Okay. And then with set 2 or set 3, however, same thing. We got a card. So Umemi is the secret exclusive to set 3, and then Alice is the alternate art from that set. But then one thing to note is that Umemi still has the border like it does normally. However, Alice actually became a full art secret rare. So this is actually similar to like the promo that they did for the Beast Folk as well as the Judgment of Magvarius. So I was actually also disappointed they didn't reprint Umemi as one of the secret rares. I think they did the Legendary Dragon from the starter deck. And again, I'm still hoping the starter deck they'll get a foil variants of those cards soon, because it feels weird that that's the only starter deck we don't in English we don't have foils or a foil variant of like every card in the starter deck. But then one thing to note too is that with set 3 they actually took away the texture of the secret rares for this set, which I actually thought was pretty interesting, especially because the promos don't have the texture. So like for example with Alice, if they ever reprint this Alice as a promo, it's actually going to be the exact same if they choose to print it this way, where it's not textured, it's a full art, there's no like border on the bottom or around. So it'd just be very weird that they would print the exact same art, like there's nothing changed to it at all aside from maybe like the set number, which would feel really weird. So then it'd be people would have to actually look at the set number to tell you which variant it is. But then again, that might make it where people may not care because it's the same thing. So value-wise, it may not be as high. But then with Umemi, so hopefully they'll reprint this as a promo at some point, similar to like the other ones, and then they'll make it like a full border where they get rid of the red. In which case, I would probably pick up maybe a few more. Umemi is also another one of those cards where there are some deck builds that I avoided Umemi just because, again, secret rare. But Umemi is actually one of the cheaper ones. Personally, I don't think I would pay more than like $50 for a copy, especially because of the potential to reprint this, especially if they reprint it at what they've been doing, where they've been doing, like an extended border. Essentially you're getting like a higher rarity at a cheaper and more accessible price. So I would actually just wait for Umemi if you can hold off. But there are some builds that do it because it is a one cost and it is a supernatural, which can be actually very useful for some of the supernatural decks. But that's all for this. So again, I was just covering 7 promos. Some of the other promos I might try to pick up a little later